It's a number of things watching this game back. Rod of Asclepius, one of the stronger items recently, buffed up to about 95 power, I think, on it, if not 90.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's either 90 or 95, and the stats on it are silly. Just 250 health, some movement speed, and sure, by the way, also going to impact your healing. It's a good enough item even without that passive. And then the Athena pick, yes, Collis is just that damn good on it, but also very good protection for the Odin Ring.
Absolutely, and I think that Rival definitely outdrafted NRG here. The Cerberus was a great look here for Deathwalker, being able to augment Wlfy's damage here. And it was kind of a battle between the Soul Eaters to see who would do more damage there. The Achilles on maniaKK was doing a little bit of work, but just not as much as Cerberus that has more space control.
Yeah, really able to control that lane as far as everybody's concerned. The doggo came up on top, but Deathwalker could not kind of figure things out here. Either way, the rest of Rival pick things up and go wind up winning that game number 2. Let's head into game number 3. Ready for the picks and bans here. And as far as adaptations and adjustments are concerned, what are you looking for, Justin?
Something I also took note of was that Vote went for a lot of critical strike on the Jing because there was no reflect damage on the opposite end. NRG went for spectral armor on maniaKK, didn't get hide, didn't get thorns. So going unpunished, Vote did a lot of damage where it mattered in the late game with that Deathbringer.
And expect to see that more and more. We see a number of hunters sort of embracing that critical strike late game element because that's really the only time that a lot of players feel that hunters are relevant. Wouldn't that, if anything, cause a resurgence of the Thorns pickup?
It definitely should,
honestly. But we
Honestly,
haven't seen that.
At the end of the day, that's how you deal with these hunters in the late game. You got to get at least a height of Nami in line. Whether or not you committed to Thorns to level 12, Spectral Armor does mitigate some of the damage of crit.
A little bit.
But your goal as a warrior frontliner is to kill the enemy hunter, and height of Nami in line definitely helps you do so.
Right, you're looking at basically two options, the offensive and the defensive. Janus does both, and he'll be the selection for Yammyn. NRG again, ban out Wlfy. Rival again, look towards EmilZy and the jungle. Sobek will be the selection for Team Rival. And the Serqet alongside, so nice look for the purple so far here in round 1.
I think that both teams are getting what they really want here thus far. The Serqet stripping it away from adapting. Keep in mind that Dodgy was banned on purpose. I think that Rival are kind of getting into adapting side. Like, yeah, you're good with a lot of junglers, but you really prefer Serqet and Dodgy, or at least that's where most of your highlight plays are coming from, so we're stripping that away.
Heavy mobility on those characters. Now, granted, Dodgy needs a target, but I still consider her really highly mobile, and the ultimate really, really flashy as well. I think what it comes down to is that when you look at Dodgy and Serqet, they're characters that force actives just like a Batz, but Batz isn't really in Adapting's current selection of characters. He's really oscillating between the Serqets and the Dodgies. We'll see where he goes as Collis gets the Athena one more time.
And I like this. The double guardian between the Sobek and the Athena. Two of the most impactful, controlling team fighters you really want. Next to Yammyn, these two are your go-to selections here. Cerberus is starting to risen in the rankings as well in terms of controlling space, and that's why NRG are getting it for themselves.
I love the Chiron being banned here from Rival. This is a team that has done their homework. Chiron's a pick that NRG bring out occasionally when they really want to try something new and keep the enemy uncomfortable. Rival one step ahead, going to ban that one out, as well as the Raven. NRG banning out Vote's Hunter. So the Jingwei, one more time. Mark, you were talking before about critical strike on hunters. Jingwei here, is it going to be the same thing as game number 2?
I definitely agree with you, Frank, that the Jingwei late game is just too impactful here. And I like the Chiron ban because of the cleanse, more importantly, away from the Athena and the Serqet. And you were talking about it here, Mark. Batz is a great selection because of the team fight power and mobility.
It's the way that he's able to force the beads. Dodgy and Serqet are both characters that are going to force out those relics. The party monkey coming through. I had said this is one that Adapting hasn't played as of late. Here he brings it. Rival going to go back to all reliable, which hasn't been as reliable. A little bit of background here before we cut to the casters. Poseidon was the choice for Wlfy in the match-deciding game of Worlds. Wlfy didn't land the Kraken, which confirmed the objective, the Fire Giant, for the enemy team, which basically won United, the World Championship. He came in and he reprised the character in week number 1 and also fell flat And talking to Alpha Jackal, he said that Wlfy took a step away from characters like this to go for the more long-range options. Here in week number 6, going back to it.
I mean, although I agree with you here, Andrew, I think that the Poseidon pick for Wlfy is going to elect him to kind of shake off those cobwebs from week number 1. Rival and Wlfy specifically is high enough caliber that they're not going to let that deter them from keep on expanding and just keep smiting on.
So a nice look here for Rival and NRG. Another great draft from both of these teams. Michael, I asked you the question, who's going to win?
I think, Thomas, that this matchup should go to Rival here. They won it in week number 1. They're going to win it here again in week 6.
Well, Anatoly over there thinks that it's going to be number 1 for Rival. Will it be the same? I ask our commentators, Hinduman and Aggro.
Thanks, Andrew and Michael.
What is going on?
I don't know what they were up to.
I don't know either.
And poor Wlfy, man. Like, Tom really went in deep then.
Ripped him, didn't he?
Poseidon messed up at Worlds, messed up at the start of the season. To be fair,
He's
got a
not
point.
wrong.
No,
Yeah, he's not
right.
wrong. And that's his job, is to lay out the facts. And he did that. And Wlfy has stepped away from it a little bit. This is the perfect time to bring it back out, though,
Is it,
man.
though?
I love this Poseidon.
This is almost a do-or-die situation. You think this is the time?
Do it, man. He's been playing it a long time. I know that it wasn't consistent at Worlds or at the beginning of this year, but it's week 6 now. You've got plenty of time to have practiced it. And the Athena Poseidon combo is one that I will always sign up for, and it's great into the draft that NRG selected.
Who do you guys at home think is going to win Game 3 and potentially off this set make it to LAN? But that's how big the tables and this set is between these two. And this one game between the two could be the difference between them making LAN and not making it.
It's not a full-on elimination game,
No,
but it's very
not.
close
It's
to
so
it.
close.
If NRG lose, they're going to need some help. Same can be said for Rival. So you know that these two are really amping it up. And it is kind of crazy, right, that Wlfy goes back to the Poseidon in a game like this, because those pressure games, it hasn't worked out for him
And adapting
recently.
on the Hun Batz, something that we've not seen too much out of him
It's about time,
either.
man. I love watching high-end players play Hun Batz. Adapting, obviously, a high-end player has looked like the best jungler so far in Season 5. It just the kit just lends itself to such incredible outplays, so flexible in what you can do, and I think it's a great selection here.
Into game we go, though, and Callus under pressure already. The aggression is good coming out from NRG. The Impale was beautiful, but there was no further follow-up. Vote was there with the Pacific. The Gust just came through at the right time to deny the extra aggression.
Good job there by Wlfy as well with that title surge, knocking back a couple members of NRG. NRG back to 56%
Okay.
after
so
their Game 2 loss.
people clearly looking at picks and bans again.
It's got to be
because game
Yammyn's
2
Janus.
Is that what it is?
I think so. That has got to be the differentiating factor. He has played so well on this character. I love watching Yammyn play this god.
And Achilles in the support role for EmilZy this game as well, because we're kind of looking at the draft, and me and you were sat here going, well, is that Cerberus in the solo lane, and then is that going to be support Achilles?
Yeah.
Sorry, jungle Achilles? Gonna be
This
support?
worries me, because I think that Cerberus may have been the better support option, because the prevalent theory around Athena and the greatest success that most teams have up against Athena is that whenever she dash taunts, you just beads and kill her. And that works very, very well. But Cerberus can just ult on reaction to the dash in and then pull her back into the thick of the team and kill her before the taunt ever goes off in the first place. And I thought that would have been a really nice counter pick for NRG. These warrior/assassin, the aggressive supports either seem to run really hot or really cold. There doesn't seem to be much in between where they do okay, but not as much as you'd want. Either these feed or they win the game nearly by themselves. So this is risky, I think, for NRG.
And it feels like the start of the game is where that really is, where you'll see whether this is going to flourish or it's going to flounder more than anything else.
Exactly. You can either fall behind very early or set your opponents behind very early. So I'm excited to see what happens, but I am shocked that NRG was willing to give Kalas this Athena once more. I get the respect for Wlfy. He's played so well so far in Season 5, but Isis raw ban, and then it's not only that, but then it's leaving Athena open. It's not picking it for EmilZy, who can play a great Athena, but allowing Kalas to go back to it. I was very surprised.
iceicebaby, got to come over to the right-hand side. We've seen this a couple of times, but one thing to mention is Kalas again starting in the mid lane. He's not really left this mid lane, leaving Vote to 2v1 at the beginning of the game, sit under his tower quite happily and continue to farm up. Seems like Rival really like to just give Vote all the farm he can get.
And with how well he played in Game 2, can you blame them? He played very, very well in that game, and you can't do this with gods like Artemis that Vote played in Game 1. You're just too vulnerable to getting killed early on in the 1v1 or the 2v1, but Jingwei's safe enough that really isn't that big of an issue.
Man, I wish this was the best of 7 right now. Just keep watching these
It's
two
a lot
play
of Smite,
all
but I'm
in,
down.
all out every single time. iceicebaby not going to be able to steal away that camp there with Yammyn and Adapt in there. They'll clean up with the unstable Vortex. Pressure in mid lane, though, was applied, though, in the meantime by Callis and Wlfy, who are still hanging around here the whole time and looking to pressure into the jungle where the speed buff isn't available because Iceice has now stolen that away.
And that's not like NRG had that information that Iceice was there on that side of the jungle, but it was just making Adapting make a choice.
Look at this pinch, though.
Wlfy's got to be careful here.
Yeah, Wlfy's in a lot of trouble as he
Dead.
gets stunned. There's no even need for the leap from emilitoo as he's already evaporated off the map. Callis does manage to dash back to mid lane. Do you feel like it's a bit of a drop kill onto Callis? Maybe, but making sure they get Wlfy is more important.
Quick sprint and good path selection by Callis
I
gets
didn't
him out of
see the
that
sprint. That's
more than
fair.
anything else. Very surprised that Wlfy goes Aegis and not Beads. I guess really worried about the execute from EmilZy, but not having Beads against Hunbats, against the CC from that Shield of Achilles, against even the portal from Yammyn, the Impale from emilitoo, I really feel like a Beads would have been the better call. May not have saved him there, but I'm worried about Wlfy until level 12. He's going to be eating Fear No Evils consistently.
But this is NRG adapting to what Rival have been doing to them, and no pun intended with saying Adapting's name there, but multiple members of Rival, they're all in mid and the right-hand side. They've left Vote on his own on the left-hand side. NRG have 2 members in mid, 2 members in the left, so collapse on this left-hand side jungle every time Rival looks to get aggressive there. Talking about aggression, maniaKK is going to fall.
Jump was down, and Deathwalker calls it out. iceicebaby's able to come over and make something happen on that right-hand side. Set maniaKK a little bit behind, but not too big of a deal.
That's important, though, just to give Deathwalker a bit more of a lead in that lane, too, because we've not heard too much of Deathwalker so far in this set. Playing the Sobek, we know how good Sobek has been from the solo lane.
I'll say, for my money, been the best solo laner so far in Season 5. Achilles is starting to rise those ranks, but it just hasn't been enough of a sample size quite yet for me to make that definitive call. Deathwalker and other players playing this Sobek have just been so disruptive in team fights, and Deathwalker plays that very, very well, and it just continues to be a great opportunity to pull out Purification Beads from your opposition with the Athena taunt, and then Sobek pluck will equal certain death into Rivals comp.
Seen a lot of the Sobek this season so far, and I expect to see a little bit more of it at LAN 2 coming forward. The LAN in a couple of weeks' time, where we'll bring the top 2 from Europe, top 2 from North America, and 1 from each of the global series from the rest of the regions to come and take place in double elimination combat. emilitoo going to have to use his beats there.
But still has Desert's Fury. That's the thing with Anhur, is that you can kind of still stay semi-safe from things like Athena taunt that have some wind up because Desert's Fury is on such a low cooldown and is basically on-demand CC immunity.
Why the beads over the Desert Fury there? Is that because he wanted to leap away so he didn't get hit by the ult?
Yeah, it was though he didn't want to get hit by the ult because just the damage in that situation would have probably killed him. Plus, don't know if he could have reacted in time. He actually got taunted in before he used the beads. It wasn't a pre-beads or anything like that. So once you're locked into that CC, beads is your only out.
That's a fair point to make there. Still 1-1. And this one definitely going to be a close encounter between the two. So far, so good for EmilZy on the Achilles. The talking point we mentioned there was that in the early game, it's kind of feast or famine. We'll see how it works out for him. I guess it comes across a little bit like an Ares, I guess. If you're going to try and put it into a Guardian position, that's kind of how some of these warriors end up working out.
Well, got that first blood for NRG in their favor because of his damage and the stun that he provided on that wrap around. He's done good damage so far, poking out Vote at the level 1, that kind of stuff, but we'll see. The jury's still out on if his Achilles pick is going to end up being fruitful for NRG, but it is just a support that it can force out Purification Beads, or in Wlfy's case, actually force him to get Aegis instead of Purification Beads. So just by the presence alone, it's a win in that now Wlfy is very susceptible to that Fear No Evil in the early game.
I can't wait for Chernobog. I can't wait for it because then we can stop talking about Achilles, you know? Because then Achilles becomes old, then you're like, yeah, it's Achilles. You know, you all know him about them. Then we can talk about the new one.
Yeah, it's gonna be. He's super cool. Do you see that he's being the voice actor for his voice pack is the guy who did Geralt
I did.
from The Witcher 3? Isn't that
I did.
crazy?
That sounds awesome.
He's gonna sound badass, man.
Hopefully he is badass. We'll find out when that is released. I like that we can talk about it too.
Yeah,
That's
isn't
what I
that
do
cool?
like. Isn't it good? It's not like
Little
we're
teaser.
sat on all these secrets all the time about like
I
those-
still know some secrets.
Oh, I know plenty of secrets, and I'm sure you're all going to look forward to him chat when he is released. I'll tell you that much. That's enough of that.
He's pretty neat. That's my secret. Not a secret anymore. Think
mean,
we'll get in trouble
would
for
he not
spoiling
be?
that he's neat?
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be Disappointing.
Oh, no.
How about if we just say he's disappointing the whole time? There's not a problem, right?
I don't think that anyone wants that. Not us, not the fans, no one.
That is true. That is true. But that'd be a nice surprise, but he's not.
Like setting the expectations low.
Exactly. That's how I treat my
make-
life. in
Yeah,
general.
exactly. Aim low, and that way you'll always, you'll never disappoint yourself.
Oh, invading the red buff by Rival here. Gonna be a lot of poke onto Vote with that unstable vortex. Space and time is available. No, it's not, I should say, for Yammyn. Thought they might look to follow up with that. If it was available, they could have been punished a little bit heavier than that. Red buff is down. Oracle's gonna go the way of energy here, as emilitoo was wrapping around at the same time.
Collis had to use that sprint again, though, to make sure he was safe. And Ice burned the blink earlier when he was aggressively positioned in Energy's jungle to make sure he didn't get hit by that Fear No Evil. Couple carries without beads against Hunbatz early is scary stuff.
I see a ring in the mid lane for Wlfy here as a first item. Where are we heading, Mr. Mid Lane Extraordinaire?
I hope it's a Shaman's Ring. Shaman's Ring is the most criminally underpurchased item in Smite right now. That item is bonkers. Like 2,400 gold for 100 power. 100 power base, plus movement speed, plus the passive, which doesn't take that long to stack, and that every time you hit someone with an ability, they take 10% more from every source. Could also be a hastened ring if Wlfy wants to go for the auto attack Poseidon build, but come on, Shaman's Ring. Come on. Shaman's Ring. He doesn't have enough gold.
Not enough gold this time round. He'll head back. And to be fair, just so you know, when I asked you a question like that, I just wanted a one-word answer. I didn't want a whole explanation of what you think is amazing in life. Because like,
Oh,
what
I
do you
thought
think it's
you
going to
wanted
be? Shaman's Ring. That would have been, that's all we needed.
But no, that isn't all we needed, because
Nobody else cared.
people want to know why I think it's going to be Shaman's Ring, don't they?
Because last time we did that, it was wrong. Like, last time we were like, Soul Reaver, you're like, yeah, Soul
Oh,
Reaver.
okay,
blah, blah,
I
blah,
think
blah,
this
blah,
is
we
going
should
to
win.
turn into a Telkine's Ring. There,
Wow.
I'm definitely wrong now.
So you get to be wrong. Okay, space of time, fight off to the left-hand side. But Callus and Vote smelt it, but it did hit Callus. Callus is actually hanging around, not by choice, but because he was channeling his ultimate to get out of the danger zone over towards the mid lane.
But emilitoo used the beads and the ultimate. So I was saying earlier, not a big deal if Emil uses beads because he has the ult or vice
Yeah.
versa. But now he's got both of those on cooldown. And even though that through space and time came out, everyone from Rival got away pretty safe. And not a lot of CDR in Yammyn's build yet, only the 10% from the Evolved Mage's Blessing.
I love the style of Rival here because they're doing a bit of a rope-a-dope. They leave Vote alone for the beginning of the game for long periods of time, and then eventually they're like, okay, we'll leave you alone now, emilitoo. And as soon as they do, that's when Callus is like, hey, remember me? I'm the support player. I'm going to turn up and force your beads on cooldown.
But that's why you have a Janus, right? To get everyone from NRG there in time to help support and make sure that he's A-OK. That's why it doesn't end up being too scary for emilitoo here.
Yeah, you can see the Devour's Golem is still stacking up evenly between the two hunters.
Yes, it's Shaman's Ring.
It is going to be Shaman's Ring. So this is the one that you get power from, right? Once you evolve it.
No, you get 10% additional damage for on the character that you hit. That's like the little
Oh.
portrait that comes up. This item is insane. This item is straight up nutty on so many mages. 100 power and 10% movement speed for only 2,400 gold. It's the same power as Bancroft's. Without the life steal, you get movement speed, which is a better stat.
It's because it's a ring is why it's not purchased, you know? Like, look at all the other items in the game. There's swords, there's shields, there's
Are
armor.
you kidding me? Green Lantern is sick, and all he has is a ring.
I'm just saying it's just like a poopy ring. You just get a ring. Everybody else is getting like, I got these really cool boots and this amazing mail armor.
All right, well
and
then
these
why?
rounded shields.
Sure, maybe, but through
You
space
know?
and time, fired off to the right-hand side.
It's going
but
to hit.
No one
Oh, I thought he was going to walk right into that iceicebaby.
coming through. That's just the, hey, stop bullying Maniac ultimate.
Leave
one
him
even
alone.
comes through, but yo, we can do this, so stop it, please.
And this is where Yammyn is very strong. Taunt on emilZy in the mid lane. No follow-up from Wlfy available there. But just to check once again. Oracle's being looked at by both teams. 3-on-3. Taunt on cooldown for a few seconds from Callus. Impale onto Vote was lovely. And that will allow them to pick up the Oracles. emilZy still wants to give Jay some Vote, but not going to be able to find anything for now. Now he's just going to walk back in towards Callus and get hit by the Taunt. On the right, the junglers are dueling and Adapting's winning it.
Both ultimates down. Ice able to juke out that Furious Monkey, though, so
I like the ult from Deathwalker there. Just looking the walls, go, no,
Stay away.
You're not going to be coming over here.
stay away. And could go for the pluck, but Maniac is lurking. So is iceicebaby, though, and Ice's ultimate is coming up fairly soon, but needs to be careful for Maniac because, remember, no beads for iceicebaby. Very susceptible to Stygian Torment.
Noticing emilZy as well. Actually investing in magical defense as his first item here. Went for the reinforced shoes and then straight into defense for magical. I guess Poseidon is a big concern with these Krakens.
Yeah, I think actually Wlfy just crackened him because Wlfy has a lot more stacks on that Shaman's Ring, so he just did some serious damage. His ultimate is on cooldown, and no beads
emilZy's
were
fine.
used by anyone else, and emilZy's half HP, so using my deductive reasoning, I'm coming to the conclusion that emilZy was the Kraken target.
Good job, Holmes.
But you've got so much protection from the reinforced Greaves. Whirlpool is only just stacking up that reinforced passive to give him extra protections. It's going to be difficult. Wlfy needs to finish off the Shaman's Ring and probably get a little bit of pen before he's able to really burst down emilZy quickly. So, but what the Shaman's Ring allows a character like Poseidon to do is maybe he doesn't need to pick up penetration third item. This might allow him to pick up Gem of Isolation next, because that 10% additional damage acts as pen, right? You're just dealing more damage to them. So it effectively feels like penetration without actually having to itemize into it. It also gives you some extra power against everybody. Again, I could rant and rave about this item all day, but I'm interested to see where Wlfy goes next. It's got to be either pen or gem in my mind.
Hasn't penetration those kind of slipped to 4 for mages anyway? We've seen more and more of that as more and more like boots into double books and things like that.
In games where mids are left alone, yes, because you get so much farm so quickly that where you're finishing your 4th item, it used to be where you're finishing your 3rd item, which is why you're able to delay it. But in games like this, you can actually just, you kind of have to prioritize it, because Kalas has been there the entire time. He's been sitting around mid, leaving Vote alone.
Okay. And he's going to go for the pen now, as you said. We were discussing it, but it will be a pen option for Wlfy here.
Sure.
No goal Fury's taken between the two as it stands just yet. It does spawn at 5 minutes now, but it's not really an opportune thing that we've seen too often, unless a team has got a substantial lead. Do you expect a shell maybe out of emilZy as well to kind of counteract some of this Kraken worry as time goes on?
That would be a smart move. Maybe even beads, honestly. There's so much CC
just for
on teams. Yeah, exactly. You can kind of play a little bit more selfishly, though shell probably the better option overall. But man, I mean, between pluck from Deathwalker, taunt from Kalas, it's going to be hard for even a character like Achilles to play that front line.
And now that Hardwood Amulet online, that aura just provides to his team now a bit of magical protection too. Rival around the goal, Fury just clearing out wards for the most part, and now looking at the Oracles. Left on Hop, he's going to get a split 1-for-1 there, but it's definitely a battle over the Oracles here.
Taunt actually got pillared away, I think, by Kalas, and emilZy going forward with that sprint. Fury, there goes the Desert's Fury, but it doesn't really hit anyone.
A lot on Kalas, and nothing really came out of it. Their energy wanted to make a pick off that, but they just couldn't find it. They burnt everything on Kalas. Just the abilities didn't all line up as they would have liked.
No, not as much, as well as a lot onto emilZy, but he only fell to about half HP, though a lot being kind of relative here. Look at NRG's ultimate pool. Literally empty, whereas Rival only used that Kraken, so if I'm on Rival, I'm probably trying to force something onto emilZy soon. You can't really do it on a Yammyn or emilitoo, despite their ultimates being down, because they still have purification beads up. emilZy is going to be the very vulnerable one for the time being.
Solo lane still continues to farm up. It's Cerberus versus Sobek. We've not really checked into it too much outside of that first kill that Deathwalker got in that lane, set up by iceicebaby with the rotation on Serqet. Their builds coming along nicely, just identical is what we should really say.
Shell and sprint for Deathwalker is the difference, though. No teleport for him. maniaKK went for that teleport. Deathwalker seems to kind of not favor teleport right now, instead electing for an extra sprint at level 1. That's been the pickup basically every game so far this time around, which is kind of surprising, because with the bigger map, I thought we'd see some more teleport. Yeah, that's what I was kind of figuring, but ends up not really being a big deal. Deathwalker hasn't been late to any fights because of it.
It does feel like a very old school versus new school. And emilZy going to get hit by a Kraken, but only half his health gone so far. Forces the ult out of iceicebaby, which does secure the kill. emilitoo's Desert Fury did good damage to Wlfy, but not enough for a kill yet. Yammyn that wants that kill. Pull through the wall, looking for the unstable, and will find it. But now he's in an awkward spot, but reinforcements were with him. Adapting will make sure Kalas has to disengage too. 1-for-1 support for mid laner.
Man, it took so long for emilZy to fall there, though, that Rival ended up investing a little bit too much into him. Yammyn was able to throw out one unstable vortex, put Wlfy low, and then still chase him out for the second one.
Vote going to eat unstable vortex after the portal too. Nice bit of damage coming out. emilitoo wants to keep going for the gold Fury. He's asking people to, but don't think they feel confident enough. This may be more of a bait situation. iceice still hanging around, however. Solo laners now making their rotation.
maniaKK is going to get here first, though. He's going a little bit higher on the rotation. He's going to meet up with iceicebaby and eat about a half of his health from that damage, but still, energy still around, because emilZy died first. He gets to respawn first and get to this fight a little bit more quickly.
Pluck onto emilZy in the mid lane as emilZy just trying to keep Deathwalker busy. Vote into the stable vortex and walk straight into adapting. Nice. Great airstrike to avoid the fear no evil, but iceice ate the whole space and time, and now maniaKK was looking to close it out and will find the spit of death.
Man, that did so much damage. Emil has to use the beads to get away from the taunt from Wlfy, so NRG get one pick, but might be a little bit too low to go for the Gold Fury now because Yammyn, very, very weak.
So in the end of that engagement, I mean, if you think about it, Wlfy and emilZy both died, both respawn, and then iceicebaby dies. Small wins twice in a row then for NRG. We've taken out the mid laner for a support. That's a good trade.
Yep.
And then a 1-for-0 exchange. We've taken out iceicebaby.
But they don't end up getting the bigger objective, and that's kind of the problem, is that little kills like that, and especially in Season 5, don't really matter that much. It's really about the objectives at this point in the game, especially. Gold Fury at 17 minutes is going to be significant enough to give a team a noticeable lead when they're this even.
Bit of a lull in action for a second or two then. Left-hand side, both the supports are back to laning standards now. Quite a lead, I would say, for well, not much of a lead, I should say, for NRG. Just a little bit of experience at the moment. Most of that is on emilZy versus Kalash, as you can see. And this is the time NRG should be looking to try and use that lead with that level 12 for emilZy, meaning they've got an additional relic.
Exactly. That's why Kalash is hanging around Vote right now, so that you can get that guaranteed farm up and hit level 12 as soon as possible. Hits it off the back camps and immediately sticks the back to make sure he can get back to base and pick up that second relic. Maybe even finish off his Gauntlet of Thieves, but decides instead of finishing off that stacking item, which needs to be finished as soon as possible, spends 500 gold on that shell upgrade, which is a little bit interesting, but great against characters like Batz, who are trying to burst you with their first auto attack after an ability nullifies that Batz passive perfectly.
Nice little use of that too. I'm surprised that it was him that went back to base first of all. emilZy's still not headed back just yet. Doesn't want to pick up the second relic. More than likely working towards that sovereignty that'll be coming along later. Support builds are so interesting to me because things have been changing throughout the season. But granted, I guess most roles have. I mean, we see the Shaman's Ring on Wlfy in the mid lane here as well. We saw a little bit of the support builds with the Stone of Binding being picked up here and there as well from Aurora in North America. Definitely adjustments happen as the season progresses, as you'd expect, with everyone still new to the game, new to the new season.
It's so much fun about it. Entirely different meta, different gods, different builds, different map, all that kind of stuff. It brings a lot of change, and we were discussing earlier about what emilZy was going to go for at level 12. It is a selfish relic, but it isn't the bead. It's actually the Aegis. I don't know, because what sets up the Kraken? The Athena taunt. And if you're getting taunted, you're not going to be able to use that Aegis anyways. This is only really relevant against the dot damage from iceicebaby's last breath, as well as the lurking in the waters from Deathwalker. If he's going selfish here, I think Beads is better.
Well, we'll see what happens now. He's against the whole team on his own. Where was everybody else? Space and time came through.
Hello?
Vote. No Aegis that time. Good pluck on Yammyn, and the beads burn too. Yammyn needs to get to the portal quick and will do so. It's forced out maniaK's ult though, who brings Deathwalker and Callus in as a turnaround. But iceicebaby with the assassination coming through, going to get the Aegis out of Yammyn too. emilitoo with a good defensive work there, but he has the beads away from the pluck from Deathwalker. Big swing, but I would say Rival came out on top.
They've still got some health bars, and Kalash is going to be able to ult back in, but he's going to be a little bit behind the respawn timer of emilZy. Both supports the focus, but Deathwalker gets beads from both emilitoo and Yammyn in that fight.
maniaKK going to go in looking for the steal, but won't find it. Rival get the Gold Fury as Deathwalker just did a good job of zoning away. NRG do not find that, and it's going to be a lead for Rival here in terms of gold. Probably the first real one of the game, and that's only 1,000 gold.
Yeah, it's not even as much as I thought it might be off a Gold Fury fight, but now NRG's going to head towards the consolation prize of Pyromancer, and they'll be able to get this one. So even that 1,000 gold doesn't last long. It's going to be right back to within triple digits of one another.
Was there a window there to look at fire at all instead of the Pyromancer?
You know what? Maybe. Honestly, my first thought is no, of course not.
But then I was looking at the gods
20 minutes in, but Emil had the Aussie, I believe, done in that fight. Maybe he just backed and finished that off. The reason that NRG probably doesn't go for that is because the lack of relics. They had used so many in that last team fight that if Rivals show up, NRG's getting wiped, and they might lose fire. It's just not worth the risk.
Well, I was thinking like risk reward. I mean, you get a Pyromancer, sure, but you know, go for the fire, and if they turn up, walk away. I mean, what are you going to lose? A Pyromancer? It's not that big. Big pluck on emilitoo though, into a Kraken combination, but the Aegis keeps him alive. Space and time only really hits Deathwalker and Callus. Callus falls, and now there's pressure on Wlfy, but emilZy misses the ultimate. Still picks it up with the in-hand, adapting, getting aggressive in mid lane. maniaKK 2. It's a turnaround for NRG now as they barrel down the mid lane.
emilitoo's got to die off that setup. Don't even wait for the taunt in that situation, Wlfy. You just got to go for the Whirlpool Kraken off the Sobek pluck because Aegis was up, and you know that Kalash is going to hit him with the taunt, but emilitoo was so affected by diminishing returns that taunt didn't last long enough and then he was able to get the Aegis off, and that turns around the entire fight.
This is why they didn't do Fire Giant, by the way, because they went it this time round. maniaKK doing a good job of just keeping them busy. Rival knew it was up, but they couldn't do anything about it. NRG with a big swing off that play in mid lane. That fight was started by Deathwalker's pluck on emilitoo.
And it was the perfect target. No beats for him, no ultimate for him. So, I mean, he did have the ultimate, but it wasn't able to use it in time. So he's a sitting duck. It's just that Wlfy was half a step too far back, and that's the tight wire that every mid laner has to balance on all the time. If you're in position to follow up off every CC, you're probably out of position in the overall team fight. Wlfy's in a good position, then is forced to step up into a bad spot to try and get his Kraken off. Because of that, NRG jumps on top of him. Because emilitoo gets the Aegis off in time, it doesn't end up being a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-0, and NRG gets to get the Fire Giant. If Emil dies in that slot, no way NRG have enough DPS to get Fire that quickly.
Such a big game. This is game 3. Winner pretty much is going to come to the land. Loser has to rely on results elsewhere of how this season has been going so far. And NRG are up now. The gold is now gone in their favor. Only by 1,000 again, though. Experience does still matter at that stage, but the most important thing is that little belt around their waists, the Fire Giant. All the members did manage to get that, and that's very important for when it comes to getting this big of a swing with the towers now being able to be shredded down.
That's the big thing, is when you see a game like this where it's very even and then one team is able to win a small fight and get the Fire Giant because of it, they're often able to blow it wide open because of the tower gold that's left on the map for them. There is, what, 5,500 gold on the map for NRG to take between all these towers that were standing when they first took the Fire Giant. They already got 500 of it with that tier 1 and left. And Rival probably going to be willing to give up the tier 1s, but I'd like to see them defend the tier 2s. It's still only 23 minutes in here, Graham.
Yeah, this is a waiting game right now, mainly for relics more than anything else. A little bit concerned about using too many, waiting to engage, especially if Rival feel they can take a fight, knowing some relics on cooldown. So just waiting out the Aegis from emilitoo before going for the tier 2. Waiting out the Aegis potentially from emilZy is the right call here. You saw the teleport come in as well from maniaKK, but emilZy already getting aggressive around the right-hand side to make sure that Rival all come to this tier 2 tower and no flanking options are available.
Aegis is going to be up for everybody very soon. Only relic that'll be on cooldown is maniaKK's teleport that he used to get here, and that's a pretty important one. A lot of times supporters, solos like to just try and take as much damage as they can, then teleport back in to swing the fight.
Good use of the Pele just to chip away at this tower in a safe enough position, forcing Rival to aggress, and helping to keep the minions alive, because it's a bit more awkward to try and get in range of him if they're in a bit of an awkward spot. Adapting, gonna wrap around the back, keep his options open for himself, and iceicebaby will meet him, and Yammyn there too. This minion wave has to be cleared first before the next one comes through. Fire Giant online for a while still. We'll see how this dance continues.
Ice has no Magi's Cloak. That was popped by emilZy earlier, so he's susceptible.
Big taunt hits emilZy. maniaKK though with an ultimate in response
boy.
to a Fear No Evil. And Yammyn takes out Deathwalker. Nice big play for NRG. Callus has to run away, but on the back of this fight, iceicebaby was looking for the kill on Adapting. Won't find it, however. Still has his ultimate available. The team know he's actually got a minion wave coming behind him. He needs to recognize that because they know he's here too.
Yeah.
Attention is turned to him. And Ice is going to be on the run, or is he? He's going back in.
He's looking for emilitoo. He's got that Athena onto him, but the last breath actually didn't find a home. Now he's going to use it onto emilZy, but has to use the beads because he came through the portal.
And now with this, all members of NRG grouped him again. Fire Giant still alive for a few more seconds. Tier 2 tower goes down. NRG immediately rotate towards mid. Good fight from Rival. They weather the storm of this first Fire Giant. They don't lose too much.
All things considered, with Deathwalker dying without getting an ultimate or either of his relics off, that's a great fight from Rival, because that was blowout potential.
Yeah, I mean, the Gold Fury is guaranteed, right?
Right.
You always know the Gold Fury is going to go to the team of the Fire Giant unless the fight is a complete wash. But only losing a tier 2 tower and a Gold Fury off that, not doom and gloom for Rival right now. Although, still a big swing.
Yes, it's still, now it's a definitive NRG lead. There's no doubt about that, but certainly could have been much, much worse for Team Rival. Deathwalker and Kalas are just grouping up a little bit too much. They kind of have to stagger their engagements a little bit better, because if both frontliners are getting hit by Fear No Evil and Stygian Torment and the Unstable Vortex and the Desert's Fury, they're just one of them, if not both, will die every time. You just cannot afford to stack up that much. I always talk about that when it comes to carries, making sure that they don't get hit by the same initiations, same abilities, but tanks have to worry about the same problems with heavy CC comps like NRG has.
Now, do we want to see Sobek be the initiator here? for them? Do they want to be looking for the plucks, which is a little bit more telegraphed than that of the dash taunt?
It's a little bit more telegraphed, and it's single target instead of AoE. So I'd like to see Kalas be the initial initiator, strip away the purification beads, strip away the cloaks, and then allow Deathwalker to be the secondary
place.
guy.
Right.
Exactly. You allow Kalas to bait himself out there. He pops his shell. He pops his sprint. You could also, if Deathwalker wants to be that dude, he finds the pluck. That's great, but he's got to make sure he gets it lurking in the waters while he still has the iframes available and could try and get there before Fear No Evil goes off and puts him into that fear state.
He's definitely the tankier of the two options that Rival have on the defensive duties, but the defensive duties will subside for now as the Fire Giant has respawned. All minions are pretty much equal across the lanes right now, and jungle camps are on cooldown, which means the dance of the Fire Giant begins, and Anhur very strong in this area, as is Janus, two gods that, you know, I'd always want on my team if we're going to have fights in the jungle the whole time.
And Serqet kind of struggles a little bit once we get to this point in the game. It's very difficult to find one isolated member, which is what Serqet does best. So now iceicebaby has a really tough task of trying to find two backliners with that Cobra's Kiss. That's how you really turn a team fight as a Serqet player. You CC multiple members with that two, bring them together and be your setup man for your hunter or for your mage. So it's going to be tough for Ice, but he can probably do it.
Deathwalker is a little bit far forward there, forced to use his ultimate, and that is not a good thing for Rival. NRG will be very happy with that result.
Yeah.
Because it means it's not available to try and contest the Fire Giant.
And it's one of those ultimates that makes Sobek so hard to deal with because it's unpeelable damage. You can't get your hunter away from it, or your mage. Sprint will help them, but may not always even get them out of danger entirely because if Sobek props his own sprint, then he's keeping up with you. It's very difficult to work against that lurking in the waters, and now that it's down, NRG have a slight advantage.
Well, Rival being very patient there because Vote was on the left-hand side of the map, just continuing to farm up a little bit more, abuse the fact he's on that Jing way, and just the pressure from Rival alone was solid.
He wanted the Deathbringer. That's why he was making sure he got enough items there.
Well, now the Fire Giant started up by NRG. Now maniaKK going to get taunted, but that'll just be the Magi's Cloak on cooldown. Whirlpool comes through. Keep an eye on iceicebaby just on the left-hand side of your screen there for a moment. He's hanging around the back, but he's on wards. They know he's around here as he gives a kiss to EmilZy, who stuns out Deathwalker. Not a whole lot of damage on him. Unstable Vortex. This is just positional poke from both these two teams.
Yep, but look at the difference already, the adjustment from Rival. It's Deathwalker and Kalas very staggered so far.
emilitoo takes
That's
a
his
lot of
beads.
damage there as well. He's going to be very careful. Kraken used defensively here by Wlfy, but he's under pressure from EmilZy still. EmilZy still diving the tower, looking for a pick on Wlfy. On the backside, though, iceicebaby's going to give chase. Still, EmilZy is in on his own on the left-hand side and collapsed on by 4. EmilZy falls down. Now it's a 4v5. Pressure has been released,
Oh,
but
boy.
Ice,
Oh,
he took
boy.
up too much.
Yeah, both backline divers end up getting punished there. EmilZy's got to know that that's not a fight that he can win underneath that tier 2 tower. Aegis was still up for Wlfy, so even if he gets in execute range and is able to separate him a little bit, there's no way he finds that kill. If EmilZy just backs up and Ice is the only one to fall, that's probably another Fire Giant here for NRG. Just a little bit too aggressive underneath that tower.
And now with that, it's going to be a bit of a standoff again, but ward control is more important for Rival right now. They get the Sentry Ward down at the Fire Giant.
But look at how many relics Rival had to use in that team fight. There's that's insane. They had 10. They used 8 of them. Only some Aegis is up for Vote and for Wlfy, and those are very important, but you'd rather have a beads against a character like Batz or Cerberus. So as soon as their ultimates are up for NRG, I want to see them back on that Fire Giant. Force Rival to come and fight you, because Wlfy doesn't have a CC immune ultimate. If you can get on top of him, he's getting feared.
Not sure what's next for these two teams now. It really is just the Fire Giant that we're waiting for, aggro.
Yeah, it has to be, because now it's evolved. It has that extra bit of power and push against the towers as well.
maniaKK with TP, could we look at maybe some split push options? I mean, that is available, but
Just
he
used
is,
it.
He is one of your frontliners too, I guess.
He's been critical for what NRG has done. He's been a really big part of how successful these team fights have been going for NRG, picking up multiple members of Rival, specifically those frontline members.
Definitely one of the highest levels of play you'd expect. And I know there's only been 12 kills, but it has been a battle between these two. Game 1 went to NRG. Game 2 went handily to Rival. Game 3, NRG's in the driving seat right now. They're the ones on the forefront. A lot of this coming from emilitoo and Yammyn, I'd say, more than anything else. Obviously, the front line of EmilZy and maniaKK have been doing good work of setting up for them. And then Adapting's always been there to help with those Fear No Evils.
Adapting's Fear No Evils have been so good so far this game. They've really turn the course of a lot of fights, but now he's in a little bit of trouble. His leap is down, and Deathwalker's looking for him. That means Fear No Evil has to go off defensively, and that is huge for Rival because they still don't have beads on a couple of those carries for 12 more seconds. That was an engagement opportunity that's now lost.
Well, he still had Magi's Cloak, so I don't know if he really needed to use that Fear No Evil there too. The Magi's Cloak would have prevented the CC chain, but maybe just worried about the all-in, so has to play defensively, and all defensively now are energies. They're getting chipped down. Callus runs the wrong way, though. There's a tier 1 tower around there. Not enough to bring him down in his own, but that allows the troops to come around the corner from energy and put the pressure back on.
EmilZy looking for Kalas now. Kraken not going to hit anybody there,
Nope.
but Whirlpool's good enough to slow the advance. So not all great for Wlfy, but that's a botched fight from Rival. That was off to such a great start. Adapting uses his ultimate. maniaKK got so low. Where was the Kraken onto maniaKK? He had Shell, but at least that locks him in place a little bit longer with the knock-up and the stun. Instead, Rival have to chase really deep, and NRG just do a good enough job of playing keep away that no one from Rival's able to close the gap. That was Rival's fight, Graham, and they just lost it.
Well, the tier 1 tower will go down the right-hand side. It's not an absolute casualty of war there. Tier 1s don't really matter too much at this point of the game. The gold experience, well, how much does experience really matter in now, aggro?
0. Absolutely 0. I mean, Defender of Olympus getting an extra point in it, nice. It'll be helpful. Fatal Strike a little bit more, sure, why not? But overall, experience basically irrelevant. Actually, though, iceicebaby still level 19.
I just saw that too,
so
yeah.
Maybe I give a little, not quite irrelevant. Okay, experience completely irrelevant.
You can
Yeah.
close the door on that one for now.
Done. Don't even need it anymore.
Now the gold as well is starting to get to that point when it won't matter, but gold still does. Rival still have a couple of items to finish, specifically Wlfy in the mid lane has one full item still to complete, and a starter item for Deathwalker and iceicebaby in tow. So energy with the advantage here, just a little bit more so at the moment. A couple of spirit robes coming through and Magi's cloaks. Everybody on energy has either a Magi's or the spirit robe.
Except for Yammyn so far. Kalas in some trouble here, but Kraken gonna knock up EmilZy, forces out that Aegis. Kalas still safe for now. Deathwalker can't quite find the pluck onto Yammyn. Fear No Evil looking for Deathwalker, and energy got him.
Execute was big there. Space and time was used earlier on in that fight by Yammyn. That could have been a problem, but there's a problem for maniaKK.
Hit both.
It spread to all of them. EmilZy's the only one on the front line now. He has to fall back. This will stop the aggression out of energy for a moment. EmilZy's just slowly trudging through the sludge of that whirlpool, and that found him another kill.
Oh, blink forward from Ice.
Good
Great
impale.
impale, though. But Kalas right there finds all 3 with the taunt. Just got 3 sets of beads. It looked like there are 3 sets of CC immunity in some form from energy. And now Rival gets to turn around and look for fire.
And that was all based off iceicebaby? Was that what it was? Picking up that kill?
It was Ice, and it was the Kraken that keeps Kalas alive. That Kraken wasn't the greatest offensive Kraken you'll ever see, not by any stretch, but it dissuaded the aggression onto Kalas. It stopped the push onto Deathwalker as well. And then that Whirlpool placement from Wlfy was great, but Ice played that fight so well. Was all over the opposition with the CC, just being that annoying little bug that you expect Serqet to be, even at this stage of the game. Kalas' ultimate was critical, though. That's what got the member, I believe that was EmilZy, low enough to actually detonate the poison onto both Yammyn and emilitoo. That does enough damage to them to force them back, and that's what guarantees the Fire Giant.
Yeah, EmilZy did live towards the end, that whirlpool of sludge. Did you just see him just walking in it? He was like, he wasn't even moving.
That's the good stuff.
Guys,
That's
help me.
That's literally better than crackening someone as Poseidon, in my
Really?
mind. That feels so good.
When they can't move.
They just can't move. You don't get to play. That's my favorite feeling.
I'm not sure if his sprint was available then.
Don't
Obviously,
think so.
If it was, he probably would have used it, but he wouldn't have wanted to. Now it's Rival's turn, though, with the Fire Giant to start getting some towers of their own.
And remember, this one's worth more, just objectively. The other Fire Giant by energy was secured before 25 minutes.
Ooh.
This one is after, so you get that extra bit of power, the extra power against the towers. I really think it becomes a little bit more impactful than a lot of people give it credit for. That post 25-minute Fire Giant's pretty key.
Well, there'll be no tier 2 tower defense on the left-hand side from energy. We saw that at Rival last time round. It looks like they may have to just accept Phoenix defenses for energy this time round, although the grouping mid could be possible. Will we see a defense, you reckon?
Not on a tier 2. The Phoenixes are where it's worth. I mean, as we talked about,
Yeah.
Experience irrelevant, gold nearly irrelevant. No point in throwing your life away on a harder to defend sort of territory. Phoenix defenses are so much easier to do on the defensive side. Plus, their defensive composition was kind of lacking in game 2. They didn't have a good way to defend the Phoenixes. Now the poke from Janus is great. It's hard to siege into an Anhur pillar. The Fear No Evil is very difficult to siege into. This is a much better defensive composition from NRG.
And with this tier 2 tower going down, it will be Rival into the lead. It was even for a second. It's not no more, as you can see. Not by much.
Lead change. That's what FDOT would say. He would say that right now.
Okay.
He'd probably do a little like fist pump action.
Yeah, but no one can see those on camera.
Yeah, but you could like feel it. Like, does it really surprise anyone? Yeah, like an umpire striking someone out. FDOT has that same sort of motion whenever he does lead change.
He does it with some things, that's for sure. So it's up to the Fire Giant then. And the Phoenixes for Rival, what they want to do next. They've got 2 minutes, well, about a minute left with this Fire Giant. Do we look for a Phoenix, or is it the next one? The way it feels right now, it might be the next one.
Could be, because this composition from Rival does fight very well in the jungle, but honestly, so does NRG's. Not a lot of great poke from Rival, and trying to re-engage like underneath Phoenixes can be a little bit more difficult than in the jungle, where it's a little bit more wide open to back up and be using those narrow corridors. So using the term wide open there probably wasn't great for me. You get an opportunity to reset a little bit more easily,
sure,
and then re-engage in the jungle than you do in lane. But I don't see much harm in just knocking on the door, seeing if NRG's home, see if they give it to you without a big fight. I know that NRG will contest here, but maybe they mess up the engagement, maybe they mess up the counter engage, and then you've got an opportunity to either take the Phoenix or just end the game.
3 members of NRG still haven't died. Just note that as well. And it's adapting Yammyn and emilitoo.
The original 3.
The original 3 that are still here, still all alive in this game against Rival. This is a telling moment in this one, because if you throw a fight at the Phoenix, NRG can go and take one of their own.
They could possibly end the game if this is a clean DSI. There's enough time, plus that left side Phoenix is exposed. They can march right down on that lane and probably find the victory if this is a clean wipe. So look at where NRG's grouping, though. This could be a through space of time. Here it comes.
Through the middle, but it's not going to do anything. It was split. The taunt comes out.
Boy.
Kraken hits Yammyn. The Aegis was too late. And Deathwalker gets the kill. Meanwhile, now it's overextension from NRG as now emilZy's trying to run away as fast as his little sprint can take him. He will get back to safety, but the damage is done. Adapting back in the fray. No fear, no evil. Adapting just leapt in trying to kill Wlfy and couldn't do it.
Wow, Wlfy stays alive. Blink forward from Ice, no beads for emilitoo, but he gets towards his fountain. Ice still looking for him. Cobra's Kiss body blocked nicely there by maniaKK, but that's 3 dead. And now 5 members still up, but problem is Deathwalker and Wlfy are so low. I don't know if they can end here, Graham.
Absolute cojones of energy to do that play. Like, that is some big old balls there to go through that space and time and go, all right, we're going to potentially put us going to land on this play.
Wow. The Rival don't go for the end. I don't know. I mean, no beads, no Aegis for emilitoo. maniaKK doesn't have ultimate. You've got 5 up. I don't think I like the back off call.
Really?
Because even if Rival gets wiped there, they don't lose because they've got so much time where NRG has to go up the left-hand side.
The Fire Giant is
They'd get a Phoenix. Who cares about Fire Giant? Go for the end in that situation. I don't know. I think I would have liked to see them try and bring down the Titan. I think they had the damage.
We've done a lot of better safes than sorry, and Rival will take it the safe route.
You know what? I'd rather be sorry than safe. I want to win the game.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people might look back if NRG lose this game now at that play. What they just did, because that was not safe.
No, it wasn't.
And now they might be sorry.
It really wasn't, but
it's the idea is very sound.
I loved it.
I love it, but
as an outside non-fan of anybody, just a straight commentator, very entertaining to see how this plays out.
Oh yeah, huge.
However,
I saw them group it. I was like, are they really going to do it?
They're
Are they
really
going to
gonna
do it?
They did.
really did it. Yammyn is if Yammyn just waits on the other side of the wall, because what happens? What's Rival's first response? Drop everything on the portal entrance because you know the team is coming through. If Yammyn just sits there for half a second
and then comes through after,
then comes through, he probably gets to stay safe. He was a little bit late on the Aegis, quick on the beads, late on the Aegis, got gobbled up by that Kraken, did 80% of his health, and then Deathwalker just gets to finish him off with the lurking in the waters. Just a little bit late on the relic. You could either do that by just being quicker on the trigger or by waiting for a second, waiting for those to come through and then coming through.
Well, here we go again. Round 2. This time round, though, definitely already have one Phoenix down. So the aggression is all on mid. Deathwalker's going to tank it up. The pillar causes a lot of problems for those tanks in the front line and the team. iceicebaby on the right, though, going to get contested by emilZy, who's just trying to pressure up the waves a little bit more. Space and time again, you reckon?
I don't know. It's a risky play the first time, but now you've got a real opportunity to lose the game with fire minions.
It's awkward because I think the only other difference I could have seen of trying to make that work even better is maybe have adapted him blink early, but then he's not got his blink. If he blinks over the wall first, he gets vision. So that space and time can be aimed a little bit better. Very awkward position to be in.
Yeah, you just got to roll the dice, I think, in that spot. Didn't work out.
From Callus, it's
Ooh,
maniaKK with the
where's
Kraken
Yammyn?
space and time. Coming around the back. Doesn't really
just
do
missed.
as much as he wants to. I think Wlfy just avoided it in time. Vote into a bit of poke from the unstable vortex, though, of Yammyn, who's still around the back, but the front line of energy is getting very low.
But man, that portal placement, that's why Yammyn is at that angle to give you an option to get out of danger. Ice is going to look for him, but still have the portal cooldown up. Mid Phoenix is going to fall here, but I love that play from Yammyn. I love that angle. That is such knowledge to know that that's the angle where you can A, hit someone, and B, have that long portal through the wall where it's unchaseable for anyone from Rival. And man, Vote and Wlfy both got the hairs singed off their arms with how close that through space and time was. It split the uprights between those two just barely. And if Yammyn hits either one, then they win that team fight.
But if it hits the hairs on their arms, that's technically damage. That technically hits them, right?
No, it singes it off just from the heat from going by.
Okay.
That's what, yeah, it didn't hit the hairs, it singed.
Just singed him with the power.
Of
9
the music.
9. 43 minutes in the game. Rival have 2 Phoenixes of energies down. The left-hand one is about to respawn. The Fire Giant round their waist for about another 50 seconds, and then it's going to have to wait for it to respawn one more time. Energy need an answer, and they need it now. They're hoping for one around the Gold Fury, but I don't think they're going to find it.
Left side Phoenix is going to be up fairly soon. In fact, it respawns right now, but Fire Giant's going to fall off of Rival here in about 35 seconds. So instead of heading towards the left, I love where Energy's grouping, trying to catch Rival as if they were going to just waltz in, but now
they got to be careful.
They might have lost defensive positioning on this right side Phoenix.
They have, because in goes Deathwalker, tanking it up. Vote's already working away on the Phoenix. Left and Phoenix respawns already. emilZy back to the front line to block some shots alongside maniaKK. Double crits coming through as Vote is just critting to high heaven. No Kraken needed now. It's all focused on the Phoenix. emilZy and maniaKK are in trouble, and emilZy is going to die soon to the poison dot on its own.
And through space and time's already down. Yammyn tried to snipe someone away again and missed. Adapting taunted in and brought down, and Rival continues to push.
And they're going to continue to beat energy. This team has just come through at the right time every time to take down the former 2-time world champions. Energy fall 2-1 to Rival.
Rival just has their number. I don't know what it is.
What is it?
I don't know. If I knew the answer, Energy would
I'm pretty
probably
sure.
pay me a lot of money to give it to them.
That is also true, yeah.
They cannot seem to beat this team. So close, and it really comes to, it is such a game of inches. That was such an incredible set. If Yammyn just hits one person on that mid Phoenix, Energy's in a much better spot.
I
If
still
it's one
thought
person
that was good.
on
I still
the
thought
right,
it was a good call.
It was a good call.
It was a crazy call, but it was still exciting and a good call.
Man, so close, but got to give credit where it's due to Wlfy. He had a really good performance on that Poseidon. He was so difficult for Energy to deal with, even without the Krakens, just the Whirlpool setups, and that's why I love Athena Poseidon. You don't even need to hit the Kraken every time. Just setting up, controlling that team fight, really displayed that control mage style that Poseidon plays.
Well, he's had his say. What about your say at home? Who do you think was MVP for that game? And obviously, it'll get spoken about for a while now because Energy now have to rely, I guess, on results elsewhere this week to try and make it to the LAN.
It's gonna be a tough Thursday for Energy to watch. I'm sure they'll be waiting with bated breath.
Well, with that, let's head over to Anatoly and F. to break it down.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys, on the cast. That's Ryan, Agro, Bailey, and, of course, Hindu, the Gambler, Hadfield. Right now, we're going to break this one down. 2 games for Team Rival. Despite Wlfy's we saw him kind of struggling on that Poseidon. Still happy to see him go back to it. I think it's a mental thing. But his team able to make things happen.
It's all about the synergy because they pair up this Poseidon with the Athena for Callus. The great setup also from the Sobek. There was just so much potential there to allow even the ripple from the whirlpool was what prevents Yammyn on the Janus from going through his portals, his teammates from going through those portals. Achilles was basically shut down from that combat dodge. So a great pick entirely.
Yeah, the portal, Ryan and I talk about it on screen, off screen. The Poseidon whirlpool, one of the stronger abilities I think in Smite, really really strong. Watching that one go down, and I even, you know what, I said it over there. That's where our casual sit is. I said it on Esports Weekly. I even like Poseidon in the jungle, and Poseidon, he's going to be our mid lane MVP. Wlfy coming out on top here, big man. 4, 3, and 6.
And it's not necessarily the numbers that made the impact, honestly. It was the utility here from him entirely shutting it down. It was so difficult for adapting on the Hunbats to do his work there. He had such a great supporting cast, and it really shined here.
Yeah, here he using some of the movement speed to wiggle away from what maniaKK had to do, and then just damage. Early Shaman's Ring also impacting a lot of this, getting some extra ticks because he knows he's going to throw the whirlpool down, and then he's going to use his abilities after the fact.
Even the Trident is good enough damage there once you get the damage rolling here. Even one little tick, and all of a sudden the Trident is just chunking you entirely.
Yeah, it's really, really, really troublesome to be on the other side of Wlfy's Poseidon. Looks like so is it back in form? Is he back with the Poseidon?
I think it's going to be a pocket pick. They last picked it here in game number 3, and I think that it was risky, honestly. This was their land kind of clinching performance here. With this victory, now Rival are guaranteed to land. They are tied at 7 wins with NRG, but because they won both of their sets, they can't go underneath of them, and that means Rival are now in. NRG still need to hope that Dignitas lose both of their sets on Thursday.
Exactly. The fate for this squad is not in their own hands. We sort of talked about the standings earlier and about those plus minuses. That will come into play if there is a tie. Let's take a look at where everybody winds up right now as we're halfway through our first European day of week number 6. Team Rival up there 7-2, NRG 7-3. So like Choli said here, if Team Dignitas go ahead and wind up at 6-4, then everything's cut and dry. If Team Dignitas win one, lose one, and it's 7-3, that's when we default to the plus minuses. And depending on how that set goes, Team Dignitas looks like they can only actually have 9 points there. So if they were to wind up 7-3, tied up with NRG, that's where that plus minus comes into play.
And it's true. It's Dignitas losing both of their sets to NRG. So even if they were tied in the set department there at 7, it would go to NRG.
Yeah, so that's actually something interesting. Since we've introduced the plus and minus, I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So everybody's looking, as far as the top 2 teams are concerned, with who goes to LAN. Just that simple. First and second place, that's all she wrote. However, if there is a tie, that's when we start to look at the plus minuses. And that, of course, is the collection of wins and losses based on individual games, not sets. It's a best of 3. If you win in 2, that's better than winning in 3. So we reward teams for that. And in the unlikely event that that's tied as well, that's when we finally default to head-to-head. So it's all about winning your sets as efficiently as possible, and those that do will be rewarded. Also, a side note, those pluses and minuses also going to take into account when we look towards seeding the international teams. That's always been a contentious point here of conversation when we talk about the international squads. Look, number 1 in their region, how does that match up against a different region that they've literally never seen? That becomes tough. So now we're looking at the teams working in between themselves in their own home regions and then bringing that here to play. SK versus Mouse is going to be our next matchup. Totally and I are going to be on the horn, so you'll hear us a lot, but we're going to talk about it a little bit here. What are you excited to see about these teams?
It's about how the comeback potentially from SK, though, because they lost to Mouse Sports, which was completely unexpected in week number 1. This is all just learning grounds now from them. Neither of these 2 teams can qualify to LAN, and it's just about what they can bring in the next split.
With the fact that these guys aren't going to LAN, do you think that we're going to see more experimental stuff, or is this a time to tie it up and just try and get some wins before the season ends?
It's very possible that they just kind of go off the wall here with the picks, but still finding the synergy. They still going to be super hyper competitive with an intent to win.
Don't forget summer and fall split still going through. So although this is the last week of the spring split, still many more weeks of Smite to play. So I don't expect these guys really to just throw in the towel. I think this one should be a lot of fun. We are going to go ahead and walk over there. Anhur and Hindu will be on the desk. We'll be right back with you in a matter of moments.
to let go, lost in